To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So I'm back at the tiny house build again today. Today is a very chilly morning. It's in the 20s again. It's supposed to warm up into the 50s today. So I talked to Carolyn, does she want me to start the wood stove? She said no, she'll just wait until it gets a little warmer, which is great because we don't want to consume more firewood than we need because we're not really sure how much firewood we need for this winter down there at the old Franklin outdoor wood stove heat exchanger. But what she's going to be doing today is continuing putting on her pallet wood on the walls. She's gotten a lot accomplished. I mean, just a ton. It's just amazing. I can't even remember where she was at the last time I showed you. Oh, maybe over here. So yeah, I guess she's gotten a little bit more done over here. Well, I say a little bit, a lot more done over here. This is just really turning out so nice. And it's funny, I mention about every other video now that this pallet wood is heat treated, so there's no chemicals in it. It appears on the videos that I don't say anything is when all the people come out and say, oh my goodness, you're using pallets. You shouldn't use pallets inside because some of them have chemicals in them and they'll kill you. We know that. So they don't have any chemicals in it. If you research this, those pallets were discontinued. Don't quote me on it, research it. But I think it was discontinued back in the 90s. They don't make pallets anymore with chemicals on it. Now, that's not to say you can't find any. There may be some still around, but it's doubtful that you're gonna find a lot of them. So today, I'm gonna continue working on the metal roof. The problem is tonight actually, it's gonna start raining. So I'm out of commission again, starting tomorrow. So I'm gonna try to get as much done as I can today on this side of the house. I got the other side done. Got the chimney installed. I got the metal roofing on. Everything's done over there, except the ridge cap. So I will still have to put a tarp up because the ridge cap, water can get down in underneath it on the other side. So today I'm going to put the fascia trim up, and I'm going to also try to put up the eaves trim. If there's time, then I'm going to start putting paneling up on this side. I notice a lot that I stand around thinking about things, and it wastes a lot of time. This morning, I've done the math on the trim a million times to make sure I got enough. But this morning, I bet I spent 30 minutes looking at all the trim to make sure I had enough. And the thing is there was a piece that I couldn't find. I didn't even realize I couldn't find it. And I thought, man, after all that, I didn't have a piece. And so I'm calculating, I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do to fix the problem. And I ended up just picking these up to bring them over here so I could start working on them. And there was another piece laying there. Oh. The problem is if I have to order another piece, they're gonna charge me for a shipping container, a crate, and it's $150 just for one piece. Now, supposedly you can take it back to Menards for store credit, but on the webpage it even says if they're damaged, they won't return them. I already got one that's damaged, and they don't really care how much they damage them. They also lost one. So today, all I gotta do is cut the ends on this trim here and fold it over so it'll fit onto a 2x4. And I showed you this when I was doing the last video. So I got to fold it over 1.5 inches, and this has to fold up over 1.5 inches. Then I got to do the same to the eave trim. That was the fascia trim. Then I got to do the same with the eave trim. The eave trim, as I explained in the last time I was doing the eave trim, you got to smash it down. And the reason is the eave trim is cut at a 90-degree angle. But your roof, I don't know what it is, 110, 120-degree angle. Well, so that means the 90-degree doesn't fit. You got to smash it down and bend it. So I've laid out a piece of plywood so I can lay it down and I can smash and hammer it. It's quite frustrating that you got to do something like that with things that cost so much. These are $20 a piece. So I'm going to get started. So once again, I'm going to use my grinder and the grinding wheel. And I know everybody's going to tell me, oh, why aren't you using a cutting wheel or tin snips? I got a video on that I made about 2 days ago. So if you got questions on why I'm doing what I'm doing, go check out those videos. Make sure you wear your safety glasses on this. This throws out a lot of metal sparks. Okay, so I'm using 1.5 inch roofing nails to nail in the trim. Now the YouTube video that I did watch from the manufacturer said to use wood screws, but it didn't specify what kind. And the wood screws that I have, the deck screws, it wouldn't go through the metal. So I assume you're supposed to drill holes and everything. I don't think we're ever gonna have a problem using roofing nails, 1.5 inch roofing nails. Dad used these down in Florida in a hurricane zone, so here in Missouri, I don't think we'll have any problems. Okay, so I got the fascia trim on now. Now, I know that some people are gonna say, hey, that's the drip edge, that's not fascia trim. And again, I explained that in a video a couple days ago, in the same video where I talked about the grinder wheel. Now, the fascia trim goes from the bottom up. Now, the next step is to put the eave trim on, and the eave trim goes from the top down. Keeps water from coming in either direction. Of course, it's still taking longer than I expect. It's just amazing how long everything takes. When you're doing it by yourself, I think it just takes longer. I'm still hopeful that I can get at least one panel up before I have to quit today. So we'll see how the next 2 pieces of trim goes. This is the piece I have to flatten down. It's so frustrating, but like I said in the previous video, when I was down in Florida with my dad, helping him put this on, he called the manufacturer and said, hey, don't fit. This is a 90-degree bend and my roof is like, you know, whatever, 120 degrees. So you gave me the wrong piece. They said, no, you got to bend it. So you literally squeeze down like this and bend it out. And then you mess it all up like that. Then you have to go on the other side and take a 2x4 and pound it back into a reasonable shape. Okay, so now I have the eave trim up. Now I still got to put screws along the edge of it on the outside. Okay, so I got one panel on so far. Very proud of myself. On the first panel, it's critical that you get it square and plumb and level, you know, all the fancy carpenter terms that I don't know. It's critical that you get it right on the first panel. After that, you can just lay the next panel over the hump and it just, everything lines right up. But if you don't get this lined up correctly, then all your panels are going to be misaligned. Well, the problem is you got to measure 1 inch off the side here because my building's 1 inch too big. And then you got to measure 1 inch down here at the bottom as well. Well, trying to do both at the same time is nearly impossible. I managed it last time when you're doing it by yourself. Now, when you get somebody to help you, it would be a lot easier. So what I did is I measured over 1 inch here, and then I put a screw right here. That screw kept it from moving around. I just put it in the board. That way I could just slide it right up against the screw. Then I went down on my ladder, dropped it down 1 inch, and was able to screw it in. Unfortunately, I forgot to put in my foam pads here underneath the edge. So I had to take all those screws out. The thing is, you don't want to take all the screws out. You just take out 3 or 4 because otherwise you're doing it all over. Take out 3 or 4, you slide that spongy stuff right in there, screw those screws back in. I replaced the screws because I'm worried that the gasket on the screw on the first screw that I just took out might be bad now. So I replaced the screws. They're expensive, so you don't want to do that a lot. And then you remove the rest of the screws and then you shove it back up under there. And so then if you remember to do it correctly, you put it out there beforehand. Now, the other thing I'm very proud of myself about is my bath mat. I cannot stand or sit or anything on this panel. You slide right off. It's just like a playground slide. I came up with this idea to use a bath mat. You throw it on there and it works. It works pretty good actually. But man, trying to trust that thing is impossible. My heart's racing the whole time. I just know it's going to slip. But it hasn't. I did this whole panel. The last screw I can't reach. So I did the whole panel on that last screw and it didn't budge. So I'm going to continue to try it. At some point I'm going to have to rely on it exclusively, which has me very nervous when I get down to the other end. I tell you, I'm very proud of myself. I mean, I'm so close to getting this done. It's such a great feeling to accomplish this on your own, never having done it before. So I hope I can encourage you to try something new today. Thanks for watching.